My name is Babalanda, the Minister for the Presidency. Honorable Chair and members, in a special way, allow me bring you greetings from Office of the President. Honorable Chair and members, I'll start by apologizing for not turning up on 22nd of March, 2023. I had an earlier scheduled meeting with His Excellency the President on the issue of national IDs. Honorable Chair and honorable members, I received your summon on 23rd of March, 2023. Honorable Chair and honorable members, I am a law-abiding citizen, a leader who respects government institutions. I thank you. Honorable Chair, back to you. Your question? On these two boards, Chair, I am their supervisor, the overall supervisor. I thank you, Honorable Chair.
Okay. Again, like I said, we want to get a deeper and better understanding as supervisor. What does that mean? Because you see, supervisor for different entities means different things. In some cases, you find the supervisor maybe interacts with the board once a week to get an update, how are things going, and then gives them policy directions. In other cases, you find the supervisor maybe is more involved in the day-to-day running, or whatever. I don't want to speculate. So I wanted to understand, in your situation, what does that supervisory role entail for both UPPC and then the joint venture, USPC?
Thank you, Honorable Chair and honorable members. Honorable Chair, I humbly request that you allow me present and to be restricted to the presentation, to my presentation, which were on the issues which you are raised in your summons, and I am sure it will capture that, sir.
Okay. I'm actually glad I didn't know you had prepared a presentation. Otherwise, we should have started with that. So since you didn't have any, we said, let's shoot away with our questions. So now a presentation which has been nicely bound. It's a good start. First, you kept time. Now you have properly organized notes. We are not starting off on a bad note. I hope we shall continue this way. Let's see how things go. So, okay. The presentation, though, that I have is it's quite lengthy. I don't know if you want to present the entire of it or you want to pick out salient issues. And then, from that, we can have a follow-up discussion. Because, like you're saying, some of the questions might be answered in your presentation. Then others, we can have follow-ups. Yeah, but I want to guide that you don't read the entire, because this document is, how many? It is a total of...
I kindly request you allow me and give me that opportunity.
I think it is, because when I see this,
others
it is just 20 that you allow to present, so that we get a better understanding of what she's talking about.
Honorable.
Yeah.
Honorable Chair.
I've also quickly gone through. I see the minister's presentation, 22 pages, but it is because it is the presidential font and the line spacing.
Yeah.
A short presentation. Let's allow her present.
Honorable Chair.
So there is a presidential font and which other font?
Procedure, Chair.
Okay, let's not waste so much time. Yes. Let's allow the minister. Let's give her about...
Thank you, Honorable Chair and honorable members. Before me here, Honorable Chair, I do have the summon and the second last paragraph is you are hereby summoned to appear before the committee on Thursday, 28th of March, 2022 at 10 a.m. in Conference Hall B at Parliament Building to explain and produce documents relating to the governance, board appointments. Honorable Chair, I request that I start with this one, then the rest will follow.
Certainly, certainly. Let's go to the real substantive issues.
So, honorable members, we are now on governance and board appointment. Honorable Chair and honorable members, the UPPC board is appointed under Section 6, subsection 1 to 3 of the UPPC Act. In absence of the board, the minister assumes the above responsibility to avoid paralyzing the operations of the corporation. This, however, may not be sustainable, hence the need to have a fully constituted board approved by Cabinet. Honorable Chair and honorable members, according to the UPPC Act, under section number 6, a member of the board shall vacate office by either resignation or removal by the minister as stipulated under subsection 6. The minister may remove a member of the board for negligence or misbehavior or inability to perform the functions of his or her office. Honorable Chair and honorable members, the old board has been on interdiction for more than a year, and its term expired on October 31st of 2022. I had to stand in to undertake the responsibility of the board on the following grounds. The UPPC is a corporate entity that cannot suspend its business due to lack of a board. Absence of a UPPC board is associated with the ongoing criminal investigations in the corporation, which commenced on August 16th of 2021 at my request, and which resulted in my interdicting of the board members and later some of the staff at the request of the police when they interfered with police investigations. Honorable Chair and honorable members, the Office of the Minister for the Presidency received a dossier from a whistleblower on July 5th, 2021, addressed to the Minister for the Presidency on alleged corruption tendencies in the UPPC by board members in connivance with some corporation staff. The dossier was received by the office secretary before I assumed the office. At this time, I had been appointed minister, but I was indisposed due to COVID-19 infection. Honorable members, you are all aware of that. On August 15, 2021, the whistleblower made a follow-up on the earlier submission, giving additional information to the point that the staff allegedly involved were planning to fraudulently withdraw more money from the UPPC accounts. Honorable Chair and honorable members, after obtaining this intelligence, I immediately prioritized it upon assuming office. I forwarded the dossier to the Director CID Uganda Police on August 16, 2021, requesting for investigation in the corruption allegations because it's not my mandate to investigate corruption cases. On August 17, 2021, I called for a meeting to brief the board and staff of the UPPC about the police investigations. However, majority of the board members boycotted the meeting. Surprisingly, on Sunday, August 22, 2021, some board members and staff were seen suspiciously making off from the UPPC offices with the files containing UPPC documents. Honorable Chair and honorable members, my intention was not to interdict these members. This is actually the reason I called them for a meeting to agree on the mechanism to cooperate with the police in the investigations. However, their actions on Sunday of August 22nd, 2021, prompted my action to interdict them on the following day of August 23rd of 2021 to deny them access to other files. On the very day, August 23rd of 2021, the Director CID requested for more interdiction of more staff for interference with the investigations. It is attached there. See the letter dated August 23rd of 2021, referenced FAP stroke CID 50/154. The DPP objected to the lifting of the interdictions as per letters dated October 28th of 2022, referenced SCD ADM 010/2022, and later dated January 12th of 2023, referenced PRO 96/108/01. See attachment. The contracts of some 14 staff were expired and they needed to be renewed according to a letter dated August of 31st, 2022. Referenced UPPC stroke MD stroke 071/2022 from the acting managing director. See attachment. Honorable Chair and honorable members, you are aware that it is illegal to employ anyone without a contract. Their actions would be challenged on the account of this. Number 3, letter of intention to retire by the UPPC board chairman, Mr. Vincent Musubire. Honorable Chair and honorable members, I received an unreferenced letter dated 28th of 2022. It is attached, from the former board chairman of the UPPC requesting me to approve his early retirement. However, after consulting with the DPP and the police, I was advised not to approve this request because Mr. Musubire was still under police investigations on criminal offenses and abuse of office. Number 4, status of the Managing Director, Honorable Chair and members. Absence of a substantive MD is one of the key challenges disturbing me as the supervisor of the UPPC. This is because the MD is a very important person who sustains the corporation, and this position is full-time unlike the board. Absence of a substantive managing director, I admit, Honorable Chair and honorable members, I admit, greatly affects the performance of the corporation, and it is one of the reasons why the corporation is underperforming. Honorable Chairman and honorable members, below are the reasons why we have delayed to have a substantive managing director for the UPPC. Legal implications associated with appointment of a new managing director. Honorable Chair and honorable members, the contract of Professor Tom Davis Waswa, the MD on interdiction, expired while he was on interdiction. However, I did not intentionally notify him that the corporation would not renew his contract because he was on interdiction. And secondly, this being the highest office in the corporation, a decision to recruit or even terminate a managing director can only be made by full board whose term expired while on interdiction. Deployment of caretaker MD in the absence of a substantial MD members. When I interdicted Professor Tom Davis Waswa on August of 23rd of 2021, in accordance with the Section F to S, Paragraph 8 of the Public Service Standing Orders 2010, I assigned Commissioner James Tweheyo, a senior staff of the President's office, to temporarily act as MD. At that time, I could not assign any of the current senior managers in the UPPC because it was early to determine who was or was not directly involved in the scandals being investigated. On December 3rd of 2021, after confirming that one of the senior managers at UPPC, Mr. Kenneth Oluka, the editor, was not directly involved in the scandals under current investigations, I assigned him the role of acting MD because he's an insider with vast knowledge of the business at UPPC, and Mr. Tweheyo had to return to his station. Honorable Chair and honorable members, I did not appoint Mr. Oluka as a substantive MD, rather it was on assignment. Resignation of Professor Tom Davis Waswa as MD. Honorable Chair and honorable members, in this, Professor Tom Davis Waswa, in his letter received on December 22nd, 2022, admitted that there were mistakes committed during his tenure of office, but asked to be pardoned and also requested to resign from his position as MD. However, after making wide consultations, I did not accept his resignation. Honorable Chair and members, see attached resignation letter. It is attached there. Status of cases under investigation. Honorable Chair and honorable members, there are 5 files under police investigations. Investigations for 1 file involving embezzlement of money paid by the Electoral Commission to UPPC was completed, and the suspects were charged in court. Among those charged was Professor Tom Davis Waswa. The investigation on the 4 files are still ongoing. According to police and the DPP, one of the challenges delaying process in that some of the key suspects involved are still process is that some of the key suspects are still at large. Actually, they flew out of the country. Honorable Chair and honorable members, these persons were charged in court while I was out of the country in New York, attending a women leaders conference. I returned on March 19th, 2023, and on Monday, March 20th, 2023, I directed the Secretary, Office of the President, to instruct the acting managing director, UPPC, to interdict 3 staffs who were charged in court alongside Professor Waswa Davis, Tom Waswa Davis. The staffs charged in court on March 11, 2023 are: 1 is Mr. Imbisiwe John Baptist, 2 is Miss Ayebare Catherine, and the 3rd one is Miss Namulondo Victoria in absentia. Honorable Chairman and honorable members, I would like also to update this committee that interdictions of 2 staffs was lifted following instructions from the DPP and the police. Note that the decision to lift interdictions in such criminal cases can only be determined by police, the DPP, or the courts of law. restricted interdiction of some of the staff after obtaining clearance from the DPP and the police. Update on appointment of new UPPC board. Honorable Chair and honorable members, yesterday, Monday, 27th of 2023, Cabinet of Uganda sitting at Entebbe State House approved the new UPPC board. The process of identifying these individuals has lasted for 3 months because we needed to be very careful about the composition of the board to avoid previous mistakes. Approved members of the board, Uganda Printing and Publishing Corporation. Number 1 is Mr. Joachim Buembo, tribe, Muganda, religion, Anglican, district of birth, Wachiso. Number 2, Mr. Sadat Chisui.
Maybe just read the names only.
Okay. Sadat Chisui, thank you, Honorable Chair. Ms. Jole Kamugira Kaguhangire, Ms. Alice N. Mohoz, K. Mr. Andrew Chibaya, Ms. Helen Ichuma Judith, Mr. Karugaba Jime, Mr. Kenya Nu. Now, composition of management and their appointment. Recruitment of staff. Honorable Chair and honorable members, I would like to inform this honorable committee that we are managing a crisis at UPPC as a result of many of the senior managers being implicated in the ongoing corruption investigations and others already charged in the anti-corruption court. These investigations created a big gap in the leadership of the entity, not for the bad, but for the good, to fight corruption and clean the corporation. The leadership at the UPPC came up with proposals to recruit staff basing on previously approved plans of staff recruitment. Here, it is important to clarify that this was not my idea, but all the plans of the corporation. After analyzing their staff recruitment proposal, Honorable Chair and honorable members, I okayed it. But I reminded them in writing to follow the right recruitment procedures. I based my decision on the following reasons. I may have made some shortcomings in the process, but it was to address a crisis, and it was for the good of the entity. Honorable Chair and honorable members. Honorable Chair, the reasons are as below. Number 1, UPPs had no substantive company secretary. However, the corporation had an approved plan of recruiting a company secretary. They had it already. In the situation where UPPC was battling cases in court, it had no board, i.e., the board members were interdicted. There was no substantive MD, and the key managers were also interdicted. We badly needed a company secretary to assist the acting MD in managing the corporation. Honorable Chair and honorable members, this strategy has worked so far. The newly recruited company secretary has handled some cases in court, and we have succeeded in some. She has also been in position to at least guide the acting MD not to incur more mistakes. Note here that the cases in court partly came about due to bad decisions of the old board. Number 2 is about understaffing in the UPPC. Honorable Chair and honorable members, the Auditor General's reports have been citing the challenge of understaffing at the UPPC as one of the factors why the corporation is underperforming. It is true. Number 3, planned procurement of equipment. Honorable Chair and honorable members, UPPC has plans of procuring modern equipment to compete well in the market. This follows a presidential directive that directed all government printing jobs to be given to UPPC and the new vision. Additionally, the ongoing investigations into corruption into UPPC has shown that one of the areas of weakness in the corporation is lack of a senior procurement officer to guide in procurements. Therefore, considering the situation where UPPC lacked a board and a substantive MD, we needed a senior procurement officer to support the current management, to proceed well with procurement issues in the corporation, because we badly needed the machines to keep in business. We could not be held back absence of a board or a substantive MD. Backed by absence of a substantive MD. We held back by that, sir. Number 4, negative media. Honorable Chair and honorable members, following the commencement of the investigations in the UPPC, a lot has been written about the corporation in both print and electronic media. The public needed to know many things about the UPPC, and it was important to restore public confidence in the corporation. UPPC badly needed an experienced public and corporation manager to streamline the image of the corporation. And when a proposal was made, I had no objection because this was a priority. And it was in plan. I need to state here, though, that media can build or destroy depending on how they perceive of things. Honorable Chair and honorable members, many proposals were made in the line of recruitment to bridge the gaps at the UPPC, but not all were okayed. For example, management recommended the confirmation of Miss Namlondo Victoria as sales and marketing manager, basing on grounds that she had ever acted for more than 2 years in this position. As per the letter dated August 31st of 2022, referenced UPPC/MD/071/2022, but I objected to this, demanding for her qualifications and a record of performance. And up to now, I am yet to receive this information. Up to now. Honorable Chair and honorable members, the recruitments were done by an independent recruitment firm, and the persons recruited possesses the minimum qualifications as per the advert. They were vetted by security agencies and found with no criminal records. They are all Ugandans, and they are performing well. However, by and large, on my own behalf and on behalf of the management of UPPC that I am privileged to supervise, I wish to apologize in case of any gaps cited in this recruitment. It was done for the good of the corporation. I wish to draw everyone's attention to the point that the entity is moving on well, and that is what is important. Honorable Chair and honorable members, for the time I have been minister and overseer of the UPPC, I have noted some challenges that I will share with the incoming board to cause some reforms at the UPPC. There is a big problem with the workers. there are many internal fights that will require dealing with, probably through restructuring of the organization. This will be a priority and it will deal with many areas of concern. Honorable Chair and honorable members, with your permission, the acting managing director can give details about the structure of staffing at the UPPC, maybe when I am done with the presentation. Performance of the corporation financial year 2021-2022. Honorable Chair and honorable members, I thank the Office of the Auditor General for the audit carried out and for highlighting areas where we need to improve, and indeed areas we excelled in despite the challenges. I am happy that there was no scandal highlighted, even if we were managing a crisis situation at the entity. Honorable Chair and honorable members, I thank this committee, this honorable committee, for giving priority to this report, because there are entities that were highlighted as well, but which may not have a chance to appear before this honorable committee to share their side of things due to time factors. Honorable Chair and honorable members, all progressive businesses depend on the demand of the product and the quality of the product backed by the marketing strategies. Yes, I agree with the Auditor General's report 2021-2022, which showed that the income of the UPPC was high in 2020-2021. But this raises two questions which I will volunteer to answer here below, Sir Honorable Chair. How did the UPPC make this money in 2020-2021? And number two, what happened to this money? How was it spent? Honorable Chair and honorable members, these jobs that earned the UPPC big income in 2020-2021 were statutory jobs, for example, gazetting of elected leaders, gazetting of new polling stations by Electoral Commission, and also printing of official stamps for the newly elected local council administrative units. This work is done by the UPPC. The jobs were not solicited by the UPPC management. It was just by way of advantage that this was an election period. If the elections were held a year earlier or later than 2021, this income would still have accrued to the UPPC. This answers question number one, Sir Honorable Chair. Now, number two, we are in a crisis today because when this income was received, it was poorly managed. And it is the reason why I happen to be before you here today to answer questions of a missing board and a substantive MD. Honorable Chair and honorable members, it is true UPPC did not make a lot of money in 2021, 2022, but this does not mean that we did not perform well in other areas. And I wish to highlight these areas of achievement before this honorable committee. Honorable Chair and honorable members, no single coin was stolen from the entity in 2021-2022. Money was spent as planned. We have not received any complaint of embezzlement to this effect, Sir Honorable Chair. We were able to repair some machines which were abandoned by management and the former board. And this is lined to boost our production. Imagine. We were able to clear tax areas that had accumulated due to failure to pay taxes by management and the old board. The tax areas affected us a great deal in 2021-2022 in terms of securing printing jobs. Some entities were not willing to give us jobs because we had no certificate of tax clearance from the URA, which is a requirement. We were caught offside in this case. We started on the process of procuring modern machines in order for us to favorably compete in the market. The UDB and Post Bank are willing to give us loans. However, because this procurement involves large sums of money, this process requires a board resolution. But now that the issue of the board has been sorted out, hopefully this particular item will be given priority. UPPC was able to bail out some ministries with the printing services following cuts in their budgets due to the effects of COVID-19. The MDAs recruited these materials, but they did not have funding. We came in and offered the services, and now we are waiting for payments. If there were no delays in payments, we would not be here today, Honorable Chair and Honorable Members. Engaging the private sector. The UPPC had been depending largely on government jobs for a long time, but after learning some good lessons during COVID lockdowns, I advised these people here, I advised the management to engage with the private sector to secure jobs rather than to rely on the government jobs only. This strategy has worked, and now what is left is procuring state-of-the-art machines that can produce competitive work. Therefore, we did not make money because we were incompetent. Rather, our major focus was identifying our weakest areas and finding permanent solutions for the entity. Honorable Chair and Honorable Members, with your permission, allow me to talk on these two boards, that is the USPC, UPPC joint venture. Honorable Chair and Honorable Members, this is a legal document, the venture, the joint venture. It is a highly voluminous document of over 1,000 pages, which I need to admit I have not fully read, largely also because I did not participate in its development, and the information cuts beyond one ministry. Nonetheless, I have moved with my technical officers here who can respond to some of your questions, if any. I raised this issue here because I read about it in the media. That's why I've raised it here. However, Honorable Chair and Honorable Members, this joint venture agreement is for the good of this country. Government is spending a lot of money in printing security-related documents alongside the country. This is an opportunity for us to build the capacity in printing security-related documents here. Honorable Chair and Honorable Members, with your permission again, I wish to inform members of the committee that already the first fruits of the joint venture are being seen. Congestion during acquisition of driving licenses and passports is now significantly minimized. As well, we are now issuing passports at the different Uganda missions abroad. Honorable Chairman and Honorable Members, the biggest achievement of 2021 under this joint venture was the commencement of the construction of the security printing factory at Entebbe. This construction is supported with USPC income and not from loans. And after 15 years, this factory will revert to UPPC ownership and management. As I conclude, Honorable Chair and Honorable Members, I apologize for any shortcomings identified. All our focus is aimed at making UPPC a corruption-free entity and the best printing company in the region. It may take some time, but we are building a firm foundation. Honorable Chair and Honorable Members, I beg to tender my submission and the respective attachments of your records, which you have already gotten. I thank you, Honorable Chair. I thank you, Honorable Members, for God and my country.
I see your team has very ably clapped for you. All right, I want to appreciate you for this statement. We bit of a better understanding of some of the issues you have raised. One, on the very first page, you mentioned two things. That in the absence of the board, the minister assumes the above responsibility to avoid paralyzing the operations of the corporation. I want to understand under what law? What's the legal provision for this assumption? It is related to, again, on the first page of your statement, you said, I had to stand in to undertake the responsibilities of the board on the following grounds. Help us understand, Honorable Minister, what law? Because when we read the UPPC Act, nothing of the sort is mentioned therein. But maybe there might be another law that you are relying on so that we get a good understanding that when the board is absent, the minister assumes the role of the board. Help us understand that better. Let's first get this to answer, then I'm going to come, Honorable.
Provides for the line minister to act in for the board, for capacity in case it's not in place, when the board is not in place.
What section of the UPPC Act? Because I've read the entire UPPC Act. I have not seen any such provision, but you could point me to it. Because I have the Act here with me, so you can point me to the section. I will follow with you.
Honorable Chair, allow me to be helped by the technical team.
Honorable Chair, the UPPC Act is not express on the issue of the minister taking responsibility in the absence of the board. However, when you look at Section 6 of the UPPC Act, subsection 1, it says, there shall be a board of directors of the corporation which shall consist of 8 members appointed by the minister on such a terms and conditions as he or she may determine. The minister shall appoint the chairperson of the board from members appointed under subsection 1. Now, Honorable Chair, in a situation where one has powers to appoint and the person you appoint is not available, by implication, you have to take charge.
Mr. Atuhaire, you're Mr. Atuhaire Habat, yeah?
Yes, my lord.
And you're the head of HR at the Office of the President?
Yes.
There's another position you mentioned. Which one?
Head, Principal Human Resource Officer.
Principal Human Resource Officer.
Yes.
Are you a lawyer, sir?
Yes, I am.
You're a lawyer?
Yes.
Okay, good. So I'm interacting with counsel. Counsel, help me understand, because for you, a lawyer, you're not an ordinary person. You're not the man on the street.
Yes.
When you read Section 6,
Yes.
where does it say when the board is absent, the minister can act as the board. What you're saying that because the minister appoints the board, that means she can act as the board. Where do you get that from, Council?
Honorable Chair.
Now, Mr.
Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, just a clarification. Just one, and as a rejoinder to Chair's clarification. Maybe he also needs to commit to this committee that he's the one that advised the minister that the law gives her a leeway, because the way he's interpreting for us, he could have been the one who told the minister that she has powers to do that.
Honorable Chair, in the circumstance where the law is not express, and the law does not provide for an interim board, the board is interdicted, it's not there. You are a supervisor of an entity. What do you do other than taking over? Honorable Chair.
Mr. Tuhaire, are you the one who gave the minister this advice?
Partly.
Partly.
Yes.
So, you see, as council, you know that the law is the law.
Yes.
The law requires the minister to appoint the board. Maybe when the board is absent, the minister should move quickly to appoint a new board. But the law does not say that the minister can become the board. It would have been very clear within the law, the intentions of the framers of the law would have made it explicitly clear. The only powers given to the minister is to appoint the board. That means when there is no board, for one reason or another, I would understand if she had appointed an acting board. We would query that legally, but at least she would say the law mandates me to appoint a board. So now that there is no board, it's interdicted or whatever the case might be, I can maybe appoint an acting board. The minister cannot appoint herself as the board within the law.
Honorable Chair, just another
I want
small
to
thing.
pick what Honorable Gafabusa wanted
Honorable
to
Chair,
raise.
just on that. You know, just for clarity's sake, the minister was acting on behalf of government. Yes.
Yes.
In doing what?
In whatever she's doing with you peeps.
Okay.
And now, if you are acting on behalf of government, and there are any ambiguities in the law, you are supposed to seek for guidance from the chief government legal advisor. You cannot unilaterally act by yourself. Why wouldn't the minister, or if there is any record as to where the minister thought this guidance from the chief legal advisor of government, and later on that informed her decision in what she was doing?
You don't pick the others.
What I wanted to raise, Chair, in line with what you asked also, under what law, under what legal framework did the minister interdict a board? Section 6, they are referring to, the minister appoints the board. The same section of the law details how a board member is removed by the minister. That section does not talk about interdiction. If a board member has issues, as detailed in the law, the minister can remove that board member or the entire board and appoint a new one. I wanted to know from the minister or from the person advising the minister under what law a board was interdicted. It is not provided for under the law.
Okay, so let's pick responses from those two. Madam Minister, the other question really is yours, because you're the person who was meant to take these decisions, who took these decisions. Maybe it would have been prudent for you to seek advice from the Attorney General. Your in-house lawyer might not have been sufficient, because as far as we are concerned, he misguided you, because the law is clear. So did you try to seek the advice of the Attorney General? Because that would cover you. The advice of Mr. Tuhaire does not cover you at all. But if you had written to the Attorney General and he advised as such, for you you're covered because he's the chief legal advisor of government. Did you do that, Honorable Minister?
procedure, Mr. Chairman.
Honorable Chair.
Why don't we let her first
Honorable
answer?
Chair and
No,
because-
honorable
because
members.
I'm talking now, we want to guide
I
this
was
meeting.
guided by police
No,
Eh?
you don't-
You were guided by police?
and DPP.
yeah,
Oh. So, the police and DPP guided you to do what exactly? Because there's two issues we are raising. The board, you taking over the responsibilities of the board, and then how you interdicted the board. So police and DPP guided you on what specifically?
I want to guide. I want to guide the meeting so I will move properly. This is an area I've taught for the last 20 years. We are not. You don't look at an MDA ordinarily. We are looking at a corporation created under the Act. And the minister this year has powers to remove, whether interdiction or not. But the issue, I think, which has to be addressed squarely, the issue of appointment of the board first. Then the issue of advice from the
So
Attorney
what's the
General.
procedural
The Attorney
issue?
General has no locus to advise into this, because this is not a government MDA like ordinarily. They have to get advice from internal lawyers or external lawyers as a corporation. So I think that is okay. Whether from the police, whether from wherever, that is okay. My only problem, Mr. Chairman, which I think the point has to be addressed, the point of appointment of the board and the delay. This business of going to cabinet for approval is irregular.
Procedure, Chair.
Because the Act vests all the powers within, they are spelled out as the Honorable Chair really outlined. I think let's go, what happened? Why didn't you go by the Act?
Okay, Honorable Sibambi was raising.
Yeah, what I'm
And-
saying,
and
But
Chair,
the procedure,
Honorable Mwada, just hold
I
on.
didn't want to raise it because it was affecting the committee.
But then you,
Yeah, because the committee was not proceeding
you
well
asked to come through on a point of
by
procedure.
mixing ordinary MDS with the corporations where government has an interest.
I actually want to depart slightly from my senior, who, by the way, taught me the law at law school,
Chair.
and corporation law.
Chair,
You see, just hold on, please. You see, government owns UPPC. This is not even the joint venture. Even if it were the joint venture, government is majority shareholder. But Uganda Printing and Publishing Corporation, it is an entity that can sue and be sued in its own right. Actually, when they are suing, they don't even need to tether the Attorney General and so on. Yeah. But you see, the minister would be partly covered, and I'm using the word partly, if she had run to the Attorney General to say, look, this is a government entity, because it's a government entity, advise me as chief legal advisor of government. If the minister had followed the advice of the Attorney General, whatever it is, she would be partly covered, in my view. And then we would debate. Now we would have to bring the Attorney General to help us understand why he gave the kind of advice that he gave. But you see, the minister acted on her own volition. The lawyer within the company gave her the advice, which, as far as we are concerned, is outside the law. And that's why we are taking her on solely. So maybe if she had gotten that advice from the Attorney General, we would say, okay, Attorney General, tell us. And we would partly absolve her because she would say, well, this is the chief government legal advisor, in a sense. But let's not get into, you know, that the legal gymnastics there. People raise procedural issues and then they turn out not to be procedural issues. Let me come to you, Honorable. I just wanted the minister to clarify where she said she got advice from police and the DPP. Let me get that, then I'll return to you, Honorable members. Yes, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. As I said it earlier, I was guided by the DPP and also on the request of the CID.
To do what exactly?
To interdict.
That's to interdict.
Yes.
Okay. All right. We'll move in that order. Let's use If it's a point of, I hope it's a point of procedure, because like I'm saying,
Trust me on the procedure. Would it be procedure right, Chairperson, now that we are getting different interpretations of how this will have been handled? Senior counsel, Yusuf is saying, would have done without Attorney General. You are also a student of counsel, corporation law. You are giving your version. The minister has given a version. Would it be procedural right as before we conclude this matter, and before we retreat to write a report, would it be procedural right for us to engage the Attorney General, such that we are able to get the correct opinion or position on this matter? So would it be procedural right, Mr. Chairman, for us to handle it that way? Because we may not agree here. Each one has own interpretation. The students is disagreeing with the teacher is agreeing with the lecturer. So I think
that happens when the student eventually graduates and becomes their own lawyer. Honorable colleagues.
So procedure, I think let's just handle it that way.
Okay, to really guide a little on the procedural issue, I think it will not be necessary, and here is why. There is no on-record advice from the Attorney General. If it was, then we would need to have that interface, yeah? So, and that's why I was saying, let's not pettifog over that legal advice, wherever it came from. At least on record, there was no advice from the Attorney General. Let's principally look at the decision that was made, whether it was within the law or not. I think that's the most important thing, you know, because good enough, the decision was made in-house. The minister says she consulted the lawyers within the ministry. So she took the decision. Now we should interrogate whether the decision was within the law. I think the Attorney General is not necessary because he was not approached. That's number one. Number two, he didn't give any legal advice. You know, so it's difficult to put him on the spot for now. But let's proceed and see how things go. Yes, Honorable Mbua.
Thank you. We are trying to be innovative, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, my biggest concern is the procedural point I'm trying to raise. Now that you're giving, in your own opinion as the chair, and the senior counsel has given an opinion, and yet another senior on my left is yet also either to give another one.
What's the procedural issue, Honorable?
The procedural matter I'm raising, Chair. Now, with your discretion, citing any law, maybe can't you also rule and say, according to this rule that guides the Cooperation Act, this is the procedure that you would have consulted either the Attorney General or she would have consulted any person, including the police. I thank you.
I think the issue before us, honorable colleagues, is that the minister took a decision, a legal decision, yeah? And we are interrogating the veracity of that decision. Because the decision which was taken by the minister is not supported within the law she's relying on. That's the UPPC Act. The UPPC Act, Section 6 thereof, it empowers the minister to appoint a board. It does not empower the minister to appoint herself as the board. Once there is no board, whether it be because it was interdicted, or they have resigned, or they have all died, or whatever the case might be, the minister is empowered to appoint a board. And my imagination is she can even appoint people in acting capacity as she eventually does get to deal with the substantive issue. That act, the law, does not empower the minister to appoint herself as the board. So that's the decision we are trying to interrogate, which was made by the minister, and she says she relied on the law. Honorable Mwada, I'll give each of us.
Thank you, Chair, and I thank the minister for the written presentation. Chair, I'm driven to refer to the Act. I want squarely to disagree with my lecturer in terms of UPP. As a corporation, as an entity, it has all the reasons to work in tandem with the Attorney General and Solicitor General. And by presumption, even the joint venture must have followed suit. Just because it's a corporation, and she admitted that actually it involved a multi-sectoral approach when it came to the joint venture. But even in absence of any particular consultation, we would dwell so much to appreciate whether a decision to appoint acting persons was done within the law. Because the issue of seeking advice is not, would it be mandatory if the action taken was actually lawful. When you look at the Act, Chair, under Section 6, it specifically provides that the minister shall appoint a board, and from the board, she shall appoint a managing. The minister shall appoint a board, and from the board, she will appoint a chairperson of the board. But again, when it comes to removal, she has the mandate within the law, and under the same section, that she can remove a member of the board. Now, it requires thorough interrogation as to now who has the powers to appoint, to appoint anyone in acting capacity. Though, when you read it in tandem with other public service standing orders, assuming that these are public servants anyway, such a decision may require consultation with public service. With public service. Now, I respect my lecturer, but this is the law. Now, when it comes to what happened and what transpired, Chair, I was reading it in tandem with how new...
Colleagues, I want to hear people who have questions.
Yeah.
So that we move quickly. If
Chair,
you have a question to the minister, please raise the question.
Chair, my question was to do with page 11 of her submission. Coming from page 11 of her submission, the approved members of the approved members of the board, and when I look at the law, it says that the minister shall appoint a member appointed shall be capable shall be a person of integrity. That's under Section 6 of the UPPC Act. She can only appoint a person of integrity, of experience, and the description of a person to be appointed is mentioned there. But when I look at number 3 of her appointment, Mrs. Jore Kamugira Kaguhaire, Kaguhanjire. Chair, I've just corrected the facts here that this same individual was the executive director of Uganda Investment Authority, and she was interdicted for the following reasons: abuse of office, incompetence, gross insubordination, irregular recruitment, nepotism, among others. Now, Chair, I'm a bit concerned on the minister's approach in selecting these individuals and exercise of her power, because away from there, we want to test her exercise of power in pursuit of her follow-up decisions. Now that she's making attempts to make and to put in place a substantive board, I'm concerned that this particular one of the members she presented for approval was actually interdicted for even worse reasons than those interdicted under UPPC. This becomes a problem.
Okay. Honorable Nekesa.
Thank you for the very good presentation, submission. Through you, Honorable Chair, if you look at the issue of interdiction of the board members, which was done legally, now interdiction vis-a-vis dismissal. So the minister maybe would be nice to know whether the interdiction of the board members, perhaps done legally on advice, would affect your choice of guidance from the DPP, because now people were interdicted as a board, and the DPP is the one who is managing that interdiction, I'm sure, because in course of law. So your choice of DPP for guidance on the board appointment, would that be related to that? I would like to get some more detail on that.
Okay, yes, Honorable Gaffa.
Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Minister, just take note of the questions being raised.
I still have issues with the word interdiction for the board. I will need the minister to referring to the law under which legal framework, if this is the UPPC Act, a board can be interdicted. The law gives the minister, 1, to appoint the board, 2, to remove the board. And the grounds for removal are also there in the Act. In the law, I don't see where the minister can interdict a board. That was one. Number two, you have already asked the question of, even when the board is not there, how the minister then appointed herself to perform the functions of the board. Even when we know under the law, she as the minister is the supervisor of the same board. So if you are doing roles that you supervise, I want to know then who was supervising her if she was doing the role of the board. Number three, as if that was not bad enough, even when the board was on interdiction, I will put in quotes, but because it's not provided for in the law, the term of that board expired. And then she did not bother to immediately appoint a new board if she had issues with the other board members that she interdicted. What made her take all that long to appoint a new board? My assumption is that she was enjoying performing the roles of the board. And she started even appointing staff, which was a preserve of the board. That was a conflict of interest in my view. What made her take all that long? Before we even look at the new board that she has appointed. Chair, for me, if those can be answered for now, then I can add on. Thank you.
Okay, Honorable.
Thank you, Chair, for the opportunity. Chair, to my own understanding, this is a corporation. And in an event that they don't do business, they are not even able to pay their own employees. Because what they pay employees comes from the corporation. They must make money. They must do business and make money. And why the minister took the initiative to interdict the former board? She got guidance from police. The letter is even attached that interdict these people. And she had to do it. Two, when you look at our submission, especially at the end on page 22, the minister has clearly, at times when you go before the committee and you apologize, she has apologized. She has said, any shortcomings identified.
Yes, point of order.
Please, I'm submitting. You wait, and you are my immediate neighbor. Why are you saying point of order?
If he has a point of order, the chair can allow it. If he does have it.
He has withdrawn. The minister has humbly
procedure.
apologized, and I would.
Let's listen to the point of procedure. Microphone, Honorable.
Honorable Chair, wouldn't it be procedurally right that you grant leave to one of our members to cross over and act as the defense, as counsel? Honorable Chair, wouldn't it be procedurally right that you grant our colleague to ease his participation in today's ongoings? Thank you.
Yeah, if the request comes before the chairperson, I will expressly grant it. Because it's important if there be conflict of interest for it to be declared and all of that. But colleagues, I wanted us to pick questions for the minister. If you're in defense of the minister and referring us to her presentation, we have the presentation and we have taken note. So I want to pick questions, clarifications, so that she clarifies whatever there is need to clarify. Honorable Kazibwe.
Of the minister and the entire committee to page 15 on the recruitment. The minister says that the recruitment of civil staff in UPPC was done by an independent recruitment firm. Which firm you are talking about has not been told to us. You are not mentioning the firm. What is this independent firm? And you say the people that were recruited possessed the minimum qualifications, and here you say they are performing well. What is the yardstick of you saying they are performing well, yet you are saying there is a crisis at the corporation?
Secondly, you say you apologize for any gaps. What are these gaps? You say this was done for the good of the corporation, appointing people with gaps. Lastly, we've seen you apologizing, and you are the first minister I've lately seen taking responsibility of things went wrong under their watch. Madam Mile Babalanda, would you take the noble thing to do, to resign? Because once you take responsibility of this, it is evident enough that nothing much can be done. Yes, people are going to forgive you. Someone is not going to forgive you. Can you be the first minister to resign? Because you are taking full charge of the responsibilities. You did not perform your duties. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, Honorable Ndiomujenyi, then.
I came a bit late. The rain was too much.
Honorable, you shouldn't have said that on the mic. Because people were here in time, even though the rain fell. So just proceed to your point.
It depends where I stay. Why you say? So, Chair, my name is Roland Ndiomujenyi, and I represent the people of Ruchiga in the Ruchiga district. Chair, maybe if I ask the questions, there are certain parameters that we need to look at in terms of legality of the board and all that stuff. Chair, when you read the Act, Section 2 of the Act, subsection 2, Section 2, subsection 2, it says the corporation.
Please don't distract the minister so that she can listen to the issues.
It says the corporation shall be a body corporate, shall have perpetual succession and a common seal, and may sue or be sued in its corporate name. What this means is, Chair, although I'm not a lawyer, but in accounting and auditing, it means that, one, they don't draw money from the consolidated fund. So they are a separate business, doing business and following business principles as if it's a private company. It's as if someone had a private company. Although it's owned by the government, but it does business in its own way and its own business principles. To me, Chair, what this means, without being seen to defend what the minister did, when you have a business, like you, Chair, you have a business, and the manager of the business resigns, you don't say, I close the business. You can immediately take over if you can, or you can put your wife to be handling the business, but you ensure that the business continues. To me, the biggest problem I see is that she took so long to appoint a new board. But taking over the affairs of the corporation in order to stabilize it, to me, in a business perspective, I wouldn't fault her for that. But I have other questions.
Proceed, Chair, just little information. Chair, thank you, Ndugu Ndiomujenyi. If you look at what you're saying, that ministers a long time in appointing, I mean, there's some writing here in the attached notes to the Minister President from the General Francis Abodo, the DPP. I think gives us clearly what could have been taking, why it had taken long to appoint the board. So if we looked at it, it would make our work easier. An attachment from the DPP to the presidency advising and guiding. Thank you.
I did see that. I'm saying I did see it, but it's, you see, interdiction or removal is one thing, and we can pack it and get to it, yeah? The critical issue is that there gets to be absence, because we cannot fault the minister for removing board members where the law allows her to, if she has reasons and then they be investigated. What we are faulting the minister for is, for a long time, you did not have people replace them, whether in acting capacity or whatever. Number two, that you took over their role. Because you see, the minister signed documents, signed letters, signed audit documents, financial statements, as the board chairman with her signature, where the word is written, board chairman, and then she signs and dates as the board chairman. That's outside the law. That's our point. Yeah? So, yes, she has got to take swift action, but for us, we are saying, for you now to become the board chairman and sign the financial statements that were given to us were signed by two people, the acting managing director and board chairman. Who signed as board chairman? It is the minister. That's problematic. Please proceed.
Yeah, Chair, thank you. To me, Chair, in addition to that, the board members who had been interdicted, let me use that, maybe sacked, were later paid huge sums of money, and yet they were not in office. And their term was almost nearing the end. I think their term was ending in October, and they were interdicted in August. Yeah? So they had only 2 months to perform. Is that correct? Someone is saying is nodding against someone saying yes, so maybe let's get clarification.
Come again. Honorable, you need to be on record.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I was saying that their term of office expired on 31st of October, 2022. Yes.
And they were paid up to when? Up to? I'm with the minister.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. They were paid up to this date.
Even though they were under interdiction.
Yes, because they earn half pay.
So they were earning half pay.
Yes.
That's the
Honorable
clarification
Chair.
I wanted to hear.
Yes.
Honorable Chair, further clarification. Why I understand the board, whether of a private limited liability company or a quasi-public company like this one, which is a corporation owned by government.
This is actually not quasi. It is a public company.
Okay.
It's a public corporation.
Not really a public company, but it's a public corporation.
Public corporation.
Thank you very much. That when you appoint a board, you are not substantially appointed as an employee. So whatever payment is in terms of specific allowances specified and board sitting allowances. So when you now not sitting as a board and has expired, you're not entitled to payment or remuneration like you have to do with public servants. Because these are not public servants. They are not. In fact, the vetting in security is okay for you to ascertain that they are people of integrity because you have no capacity of knowing the background of people. That is fine. The approval by cabinet for you to get comfort, that is okay. But ultimately, the power under the act is with you as a minister. So kindly show us within the act or an agreement where these people are entitled to perpetual payment, whether they're doing work or not.
Okay. Honorable Njomjen, you finish with your questions? People are just giving information to you.
Yeah, to me, that one, as the Honorable Sivami has elaborated, board members are not employees, and they are just given allowances specified. I think in the human resource manual, I don't know if it's there, but they are not supposed to be earning like a monthly, salary like employees. They are supposed to get allowances, sitting allowances. They are supposed to get those other benefits as the corporation, the minister may deem necessary. But when I saw that they were paid all that money, more than $1 billion, I found, to me, this committee chair, we should dwell more on figures and the losses than the procedural and the administrative issues.
Honorable, both are very important because
yeah, they are, but
the procedural issues can lead inevitably to the loss of funds.
Yeah, so, but that's my opinion, sir. Chair.
Chair.
Your chair was only guiding on the mandate of the committee. It is both procedure and accountability. But please proceed.
I said we will remove. I didn't say we ignore. So the fact that those body members who were sacked, who were interdicted, were paid a huge sum of money, it's a cause for concern, especially from the minister who is talking about fighting corruption. I don't know how that one skipped her, or she was involved in decision making of paying those body members. And secondly, who now advised her? Because the other side said she was advised by DPP and police. So here on the payment of these body members, we would like to know who advised her to pay that money, because it was paid irregularly and it's a total loss. And to me, I think we should even recommend for recovery from those body members. One, they were not working, they were not in office. Two, they are not supposed to earn all that money because it's a lot of money. So that's something that we need to interrogate, Chair, and get to the bottom of it. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, get responses from the minister. Respond to those two also critical issues, yeah? Because you signing documents as board chairman, financial audited, statements, you signing them as board chairman, and under what understanding within the law, and also now these people got interdicted and they continue to get payment. How? And then the other issues that were raised by colleagues. Please respond to those.
Thank you, Honorable Chair and Honorable members, for all those concerns. As I said it earlier in my presentation, Honorable Chair, I was managing a crisis. In managing a crisis, Honorable Chair, you expect the do's and don'ts. So it is the reason why I had to come in and do the needful. Because the old board has been on interdiction for more than a year, and its term of office expired on 31st, that is of October 2021. So I had to come in and rescue the situation, sir. Then Honorable raised an issue on the huge amount of money which were paid. That one, Honorable Chair and Honorable Ministers and Honorable Members, it is written and it is there in the Human Resource Manual. I request my technical team to guide on that.
Honorable Chair, through the Minister for Presidency, the Human Resource Manual allows the board members to be paid retainer allowance. Now, when they are paid retainer allowance, they can, monthly, they can as well earn mileage or sitting allowance. So this retainer allowance, basically, it's like their salary. So when they were interdicted, once you are interdicted, it is a temporary removal from your office and you are entitled to earn a half pay. Now, the money that was paid at the end of their natural end of the contract was the other half pay, which actually amounted to 144 million, not a billion.
Did you, sorry, I think we really now have to guide this meeting.
Yes.
Do you want to put your name on record that you are the one who advised the minister? Please.
Mr. Chair.
Are you the one who advised?
Minister,
You won't take people responsible. Are you the one who advised the minister?
I can say
First
that
say that,
party.
then.
I am a technical person.
Not party. Are you the one?
Not solely me as one.
He has answered the question. He was part of those who gave the
Honorable
advice.
Chair.
Honorable Chair.
Maybe if you can provide for us the HR manual, so that we see, for starters, what you're saying, the retainer, and all of that.
Chair, we are also here.
But colleagues said.
Honorable Chair, no one is here.
Honorable Sibambi, Honorable Sibambi, senior, please behave like a senior. we are doing so much of the interruptions. We are going to pick the issues. Let's get their responses, and then we can follow up. Yeah?
Interval do we seek for clarification? You need to guide us.
And that's the guidance I'm giving. Let them respond. After they have responded, then we can follow up. We don't get what we want from these people. Okay? So, Council, you talked about, and we have a copy of that HR manual where you're quoting that section. That's the HR manual for the board.
Mr. Chair, I request the Corporation Secretary to get you the relevant section, and actually not only the Human Resource Manual. These board members, they are usually given appointment letters with terms and conditions. And those terms and conditions are stipulated in their appointment letters. And the retainer allowance, which is monthly, is stipulated there, without even looking at the Human Resource Manual.
No, but you see, the two cannot be different. The HR
Yes,
manual
yes.
is the principal document, if you like, the principal law, if you want to use that. So the appointment letters and all of that should stem from the HR manual. So we want you to point us to where in the HR manual it's indicated as such. Yes, Corporation Secretary.
Honorable Chairperson, I would just like to clarify that it's provided in the board manual, not the human resource manual.
So where is the board manual?
We can avail the committee with a copy of the board manual.
But
and a
now,
copy of the contract.
the chief legal advisor of the ministry is talking about HR manual, the Corporation Secretary is saying board manual. So what document do you rely on, and where is it?
Mr. Chair, there are two manuals, and they are all related to HR. The board and, yeah, but it is a manual to guide HR. As long as it is guiding a payment, but it has an appointment letter.
Procedure Chairman. Procedure Chairman.
Mr. Chair,
Chairman.
I request for your
Procedure
protection
Chairman.
through my minister. What is very important here is to understand how the board of directors of UPPC are appointed. Without knowing this, we may not, because we are comparing the UPPC board with other boards, when actually this is unique in itself. Yes.
Yeah, but the uniqueness should be in the law. You don't make it seem peculiar, like it is out of this world. No, there is a law that provides for all of that.
Chair.
Maybe
On
Chair.
the procedural matter, Chair. Matters here. Honorable Yusuf and team. Please, my colleagues. Chair, before I go into the questions, I think the procedural matter I want to raise, I want to put to you, Chair, is it not procedural right for us to receive these documents that have been referred to? When we retreat, we shall be able to get the genesis. We can't resolve it here. I think other than us arguing, let us procedurally handle it that way. The board manual, the appointment letter, the human resource manual, we get it. When you are writing a report, we shall refer to those documents. Otherwise, if we continue, we shall not be able to come to a conclusion. That's my procedural matter, whether it's not procedural right for us to handle that matter that way. Having said that,
Okay,
Chair,
so that was the point of procedure.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have the HR manual. We need the board manual. Can we get it by close of today? The board manual, and then also the appointment letters. I'm sure you retained copies as the entity. Let's get all of them by close of today, because the appointment letters also stipulate what the retainer fees are, right? So let's get all of that by close of business today. Colleagues, had we gotten all the questions earlier on raised responded to before we speak another set?
No. Chair.
These new board members and how it was done.
The people who were recommended, the people who were appointed were recommended to me after being vetted by ISO and crime intelligence.
Oh.
Yes.
So the board of UPPC is first vetted by ISO and crime intelligence.
Yes.
That's the procedure.
Yes.
Oh.
They were vetted by ISO and also crime intelligence.
Do you have a report that you can share with this committee? A report from the ISO and crime intelligence?
Yes.
Because it is our mandate to know
Honorable
if the people who were recruited to become board members are competent enough as a committee.
But Chair,
So can we get that ISO report?
Chair, there's a difference between vetting and propose, you propose you as a minister, and then you send them for vetting.
Yes, after
Under which circumstances did you propose now
she was
Kamugira?
cleared by the DPP, Honorable. That lady was cleared by the DPP.
The DPP again?
Yes. The
within
one
that-
the one she's talking of.
Oh, the charges?
Yes.
Okay,
She
so
was cleared by the DPP.
the other thing,
Chair.
and please take note, we will need that report,
Yes.
the vetting report,
Yes.
because you see, this is a corporation of government, so it is not, as you're saying, something exclusive to security and that kind of thing.
It is already here, sir.
The report?
Yes.
Oh, please let me receive it.
Chair, as you
Maybe read the heading thereof and then submit what it is.
It reads, Honorable Members, forwarding a vetting report of 9 members nominated on the Board of Uganda Printing and Publishing Corporation, that is UPPC. Reference is made to your letter dated blah blah, which you requested vetting of nominated members on the Board of the Uganda Printing and Publishing Corporation. The vetting has been done and attached is the vetting report forwarded. Signed by Damlida, AIGP, Inspector General for Inspector General of Police.
Okay. Let's receive that. No. Let me pick Honorable Itungo and
on this matter here. I think the minister, don't take this lightly, the concern that has been raised. I think something that you must go back and reflect on. Some of us have more information, which you would not want to diverge from here. Yes, the vetting was done. But if that's the type of person you are going to take to UPPC and possibly even tomorrow appoint to be the chair, then you know there's going to be another disaster in the UPPCs.
But maybe also,
so
Madam Minister.
But it's just for you to take note of the concern the member has raised here.
Whenever ministers are appointing boards, is it practice that security people do vetting, or is this unique to UPPC? Yes, madam, on the microphone.
I don't know why it doesn't speak.
You're not on record. Okay,
All.
all of them.
Yes, sir.
The PS wants to clarify. You're saying for all board members, security has to first investigate and so on.
Chair all government bodies, wherever they appoint board members, they have to be security vetted. So it's not only unique for UPPC, but all other agencies are supposed to be vetted by security.
What is security normally looking for, broadly?
One, they are looking at the integrity. One of them, I can say the integrity of that person. What is the integrity? That one is so important. The criminal record is also one of the issues which they look at. Those are the main issues which they look at.
But Chair,
Honorable Chair, I have another report from ISO.
Chair,
the minister is submitting another report.
Chair, the law talks about morals, integrity. Those are nothing to do with ISO and what have you. They look for criminals. But we have issues to do with integrity. Integrity. Someone is accused of nepotism. So some of these are not isolated matter.
Chair.
Madam Minister, submit that other report.
Thank you, Honorable Chair and Honorable Members. There is also a report here from Director General ISO, Charles Soluka, security vetting of proposed members on the UPPC board. It has reached us here.
Chair, through you, my question has not been attended to about the independent recruitment firm. Yes. And which people were appointed? The independent recruitment firm that had
the recruitment firm that was used was called ABS Consulting Group. And the names that the members that were recruited, we provided the files and the list on the first day.
It is ABS Recruitment Group.
ABS Consulting Group.
Madam HR, how was that firm recruited?
Exactly.
We followed internal procurement processes as a corporation.
We can't hear you, madam.
We followed internal procurement processes as a corporation.
Really, you people advertised and people applied, bidded and so on?
We used the internal list. We have a pre-qualified list that we used internally. Yes.
So you picked from one of those on the pre-qualified list?
Yes, Honorable.
Okay, we'll need to get those documents too, and we establish what's going on there.
Honorable Chair, just
Question,
as a
decide
follow-up
now,
question.
Chairman. Chairman, decide. Can we now?
Okay, so let me hear from Honorable Chimosho, then I'll come. Okay, don't make it seem like you hadn't said anything. Because we started from that side. Okay, don't worry. Let's be orderly. The chairperson is coming.
You
Yes,
know, as
Honorable.
a follow-up question, Honorable Chair, when they pick from their list, the short list, the pre-qualification list, would want to know maybe how much did they spend on this process for this company?
I need to confirm, but it was around advertisement and the entire process was about 50 million.
Fee?
About 50 million.
What you paid them?
Yes.
Okay, Honorable Itungo.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I want to thank the Minister for being honest and making that apology. We have had ministers here who don't apologize. So I want to thank you, Madam Minister, for that. Mr. Chairman, I want to go back to the question of law, which is not yet resolved. And the way how I'm looking at these things, Mr. Chairman, the biggest problem with this cooperation is that lawyer. I don't know whether the lawyer should be put on oath, but I think that the internal lawyer, there are so many lawyers now, but the lawyer of the cooperation. Mr. Chairman, the minister is saying she was in a crisis and she wanted to manage the crisis. And someone should not follow the law. But in her presentation, which if you could open, there is an attachment, a letter, there is a letter on the office of the president, headed paper, the appointment of Kenneth Oruka. If you could read that letter, and then we see there is a paragraph there, which I want the lawyers, including Honorable Sibambe, now to interpret for us, and Mwada. In the appointment letter of Kenneth Oruka, as an editor, no, as a managing director. Chair, I don't know that you are there. Chair, are you there?
Which document are you talking about?
The presentation of the minister. There is a letter.
Page what?
They are just attachments, they are not pages.
Okay.
But there is an appointment letter of Kenneth Oruka as actually managing director. Chair, about the law, I want the lawyers now to help us. When you look at paragraph number 2 of that appointment letter, it says the assignment is subject to the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, 1995, the Public Service Act of 2008. Chair, I don't know that you are there. Now, I want to know that when you are dissolving the board and whatever, you are in a crisis, there is no law. But when you are appointing this one, now there is law. So, Chair, where is the law? On an assignment or even in the resolving the board and the interdiction of the board members. So I wanted the lawyers to help us. Because when she was appointing the managing director here, she actually quoted the laws which she used to appoint. My only concern in that appointment is that this gentleman is appointed until such a time, maybe when Jesus comes back. There is no time frame of his appointment. So my concern, Chair, is the question of the law which Honorable Samba was trying to address. That this is a corporation, we may not need Attorney General, we may not need ABC, but in the appointment letter, they have quoted all sorts of law. So I wanted to know from the Honorable Sabami especially. This issue of quoting these laws in assignment, why were they not quoted when they're interdicting the board and that kind of stuff?
Okay, let's move. Honorable Mbwa, we are coming to you.
I want to thank the Minister for her presentation. Normally, in appointment, before the approval by the Cabinet, the HE always looks for regional balance when he's doing his appointment. When I look at the board that you have appointed, from number 1 to number 8, I have not seen anybody from Northern Region. Did the ISO people tell you that Northern Region are criminals or what? Because when I look at the list, you appointed 3 people from Western Uganda, and nobody from Karamoja straight up to West Nile. And I wanted to find out the criteria you used, because you sourced them for 3 months. Didn't you find anybody who could fit to be a member on this? Thank you.
Okay, Honorable Minister, I hope you're taking note of the questions.
Chair, just a quick response to my colleague before I raise to the Minister.
No, leave the question. The Minister will respond. You ask your question, Honorable Mwada.
Just on the matter, he mentioned my name. I don't need to stay on the record. Principally, we are allowed to quote any law, starting from the Constitution, for any matter. It's a matter of law that whenever you're exercising any powers or any legal proceeding, the Constitution is the supreme law. So there's no taboo with that. And Chair, I also wanted to put on record that according to, when you look at public service standing orders, interdiction is not termination. So an interdicted employee remains with, according to the public service standing orders, receives half pay and is paid the full pay when the interdiction is lifted. So that is provided for within the law. We may need to investigate further whether actually the board of UPPC is interpreted as members or part of public service under the law. That's where the lacuna appears to be. Chair, I wanted to interrogate the minister on the exercise of her powers. Because when you look at this letter, the letter appointing the acting managing director, my recollection of the of the standing orders is that you must exercise such powers in consultation at minimum with public service. Did you consult public service, or you just copied them as per your letter? Is it copying them, or you had consultation with public service? Secondly, in your exercise of your powers, you appear to put now this particular managing director to be supervised by the secretary. The secretary, office of the president. You'll be supervised by the secretary, office of the president. Now, when I look at the act talks about the minister, not the ministry. And the powers, according to me, are not delegable. You cannot transfer your powers to now the secretary. Am I right to say that the MD has been acting on orders of the secretary, office of the president, or with that advice from the minister, you as the minister? You know, these are tactical questions. The law specifically provides that it is you, the minister, who is the would-be supervisor. But in your appointment, you are tasking this one to report and to be supervised by the secretary. Now, what kind of interpretation is this? There is no provision to do with the secretary, office of the president anywhere in the law that establishes the Uganda Printing and Publishing Corporation. And I also need to hear from the acting director, whether from who, where are you reporting? You report to the minister or the secretary, because the appointment takes you to the secretary. And where are you reporting? So Chair, I was begging for those spot-on answers.
Okay. Honorable Mbwa.
Honorable Chair, for giving me an opportunity. Honorable Chair, I'm on page 10. My area of interest is that staff charged in court on March 11th, 2023, and there are 3 and they are mentioned. But they did not state their positions. I don't know if only these people, they were cleaners and askaris that were taken and charged to court. Because I'm interested in seeing how were they related to the so-called fraud that was happening. So I'm seeking clarification. Who are they? Yes, by position. Secondly, Honorable Chair, on page 11, my sister brought up a matter that people from northern Uganda maybe they are not honest or what. But my concern here now on page 11, I'm just seeing religion, and we have different religious affiliations. But I can also see that people who are very honest and who deserve such appointments, you must either be an Anglican or a Muslim. Yes. No, so Catholics, born again, I think they are not competent enough that they would even pass through that vetting committee. So, right on, Mr. Chairman, I wish to know, yes, what happened to Catholics? What did they do to this cooperation for the ministry? Yes, for her to pick the 5 Anglicans. Is it because they are the best who can pray on every Sunday? And where is SDA even above all? Thank you so much, Honorable Chair. Chair, as I wind up, Chair, as I wind up, it is very important. You cannot joke with any person's religion, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, when it goes to recruitment, on page 14, it was mentioned, number 4, because of negative media, they managed to recruit a PRO for the company. But my area of interest, Honorable Chair, I want to see the human resource recruitment plan. If it was planned in that year, or it came as an emergency, and because of crisis management, it happened there. Otherwise, Chair, lastly, the person whom I had as if he... Honorable Chair, procedure now, I'm changing. Honorable Chair, is it procedurally right when I'm speaking to you, I want you to listen to me, and the honorable member called Chimosho is interfering?
Order.
Honorable member, ask your questions. The minister is taking note.
But
okay. You see, Madam Minister, maybe part of the problem you have caused, the list you gave us, you indicated people's tribes and religions. I don't even know if it was necessary, because what that communicates is that you appointed these people on the basis of their tribes and religions. So that's why now those that don't see their religion there, they are complaining. Those that don't see their tribe there, they are complaining.
Under the Equal Opportunities Act.
So maybe the minister will give clarification.
Chair, under the Equal Opportunities Act, which is law, under the Equal Opportunities Act, which is law, any appointment must give a reflection of society. So the key elements taken into account, religion and tribe. So whatever I think she did, it was in order.
Very well, no one is actually saying she was out of order. I'm presupposing that that's what she followed, you know. But
Chair,
let's go to the critical issues.
Chair, don't down. I totally agree, and I would want to thank the minister for bringing that detail. That detail.
That
because some of us have been suffering because they are subdued without having a full summary. I want to thank the minister for doing that, and he should continue doing that. That exposes.
Okay.
That's why we're raising it. So can I now go to my substantive
All right, and colleagues, as we proceed.
But Chair, you interjected, and now you're giving the...
Just hold on, Honorable. We have gotten information from the next committee. Our voices are shooting through the roof. Let's not chance to speak so that we remain orderly and we don't disrupt the meeting next door. Yes, Honorable Cooper. I thought Honorable Mbwa had finished.
No. I'm concluding, Honorable Chair. Thank you so much. As I lower the voice, through the submission, that gentleman next to the minister, in his introduction, as if I had his position is to do with the human resource, then at the same time has a legal background, which is good. But in his submission, he said that when you read the HR manual, it clearly stipulates how the board members are supposed to be paid monthly. Then, when it came to the company secretary, said that it was actually a hiccup, that it is actually stipulated in the board manual. So, Honorable Chair, I want this thing to come up clearly. As they are submitting, is someone who is the head of the HR, can someone ahead of HR tell this committee that whatever he has stated, we shall find the section that clearly stipulates how these board members are supposed to be paid, or we just go by the words of the company secretary?
Thank you. Yes, requested that we provide the HR manual and the board manual and appointment letters to that effect.
Okay. Thank you.
So that question will be answered. Honorable.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, my presentation and seek some clarification, give information. Chair, like other colleagues have said, I think we want to thank the Minister for this detailed submission and in a very organized way. It's going to simplify our work when we are doing the reporting. During the reporting, we may not be able to raise questions here, but with reference to this document, I think we are going to do a lot. So as we're asking questions, we may be asking clarifications, but there are those matters that have not been raised in this. I think let us also focus now our attention towards that, and then we go to Uganda Security Company also to get from them. Having said that, Chair, one other thing that we need to, I would have brought it in our internal meeting, but it's also good possibly for them to hear and to understand. And the lawyers will guide us. Good enough, we're endowed with about 3-4 senior lawyers in this committee. Because to me, one, I think we all agree that the minister did the right thing to interdict the board, given what we have read here, what we have gone through. I think it was the right thing to do. Now, how to manage this situation after the sacking or the interdiction, I think is where we are. Now, lawyers should help us. That's why I wanted them also to hear and help me. In what happens on the issues that are happening, what does the law say about the handling of the board issues in the absence of the board? Because we also know, even if they had been dismissed, it is a process, like we have been told here. It takes 3 months for intelligence to go through the process. Who handles the matter? What does the law say? Who handles the matter between the interdiction or the dismissal and the appointment of the new board? I think that's the questions that we need to answer and help the minister. That because it may not be the last. Suppose things happen tomorrow, how should the minister handle? Should it be with the clearance of the Attorney General, or the law is clear about it? Those are the questions that we need to answer. Two, the suspects, they say there are certain members who are at large. Who are these? Does it include also some of the board members or the management? Because we hear some people already, they are out of the country. Can't they be brought back? Because one of them is, if I got right, is what I think the management had recommended for appointment, and the minister said, no, I think you were right to do that because he's one of the people who are out of this country. How could the management recommend for such a person when the person has run away to avoid the issues? The other one which may not have been mentioned here, Chairman, is the issue which we need to bring to the minister, that what your UPCC has as a debt collector is a wrong nomenclature. It cannot be, one single person cannot be appointed a debt collector. That's what we discovered. the PS and the minister, we just want you to note that. I'm not asking a question. That's what the committee has found out. The first of all appointment of that person, and then the debt collector cannot be. Ordinarily, what would have been done would have been within the finance administration to have people who follow up debts, but not handled the way it was handled. The issue of the commission, which we have strongly discussed about here, because by law, by statute, it's only UPPC which can gazette. But you are seeing a situation here where, but also other government bodies can only do gazette with UPPC, and by law within a specified period. So it was wrong for the board to come up with a decision if you've got a trail to make a decision that is someone who is a staff can be paid a commission on something that is by law, that someone should be paid 1.6 billion for bringing business. Which business? The law is very clear. Electoral commission must be able to bring the work to you. So I have read some documents here where they're talking about that they gave a...
Chair, I have a procedural matter here.
Yes, point of procedure.
Chair, the management of UPPC came here and we interacted with them, and it is their responsibility to update the minister about what we discuss here. Now, when a member now is the one giving information to the minister of what we have discovered, what we have done, is it procedurally correct, Chair, or we are proceeding in a very wrong direction?
I beg your pardon. I was getting some clarification.
I was saying management of UPPC came, and we have been interacting with them, and we have raised some issues which they will clarify and also shall put in our report. It is their responsibility to update, to bring the minister to speed of those issues. Now, when an honorable colleague is now the one updating the minister of what we have discovered, what they are going to respond to, are we proceeding well, or we are proceeding in a wrong direction?
Actually, because so it's twofold. The expectation is that management ought to be in touch with the minister, and the minister, of course, in touch. Our interaction with the minister, because we don't have so much time, we are not able to bring to her to speed of all the issues that we discovered. We want her to respond to her own issues, issues that concern her, and then USPC and all of that, as opposed to now we found this and all of that, so that we manage our time well. So let's raise questions for the minister.
Chairman, first of all, the member is out of order, according to me. First, he came in late. He came in late here. He came in late here. And
let's not bicker. The chairperson has guided.
He came in late because he claimed there was raining on his place, and for us, it was not raining in our place. So on this submission here, they mentioned the issue of the commission. They mentioned the issue of the electoral commission. This is where the genesis of this matter. Yeah, that's why I'm bringing it up. So you please, can you listen? When you're talking, I was quiet. It's not my culture to interfere someone when he's talking. You will respond. I'm not a mad person that I can be able to be picking things from elsewhere. It's from this document. And if you looked at it correctly, you'll find it mentioned there. So that's where I am raising that matter, Chair. Chair, based on what was you, which also we need regarding the issue of the board members. Why the members are asking that there is need to be shift in appointing the board members. Because the board of UPPC, according to the contract that you have with the Uganda Security, you will need to have 3 represented in the board of Uganda Security. So this is where we put money with a private investor. How can we not have an eye? So you cannot afford to have a lag for over 6 months or a year when you have not a representation. The board, 3 members from UPPC must be there. That's why we are asking that, please, I think it was necessary for you to speed up the process such that we have our eye on where we have our money our resources in. So, chairperson, for that matter, let me stop here. As chairperson.
Okay, Honorable Nekesa, then I'll come.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, for me, I would like to bring the members here the attention that we are dealing with, like the minister wrote in her report, and truly, there's a component of security here. You know, so when we have the security thing here, there's not be right that we understate the importance of vetting, the issue of vetting, police vetting, and every security arm given to vet, because this is security for this corporation. So I'm going to bring that to light. Bring it up to us to look at it. Don't, if you underscore it, if you don't talk about it and don't consider it much, we'll rise up against that. Thank you.
Thank you, Afande. Yes, Honorable Gafa, then Honorable Chimosho. Yes, you'll come. Don't worry.
Chair, mine is a sort of procedure. Honorable Chair, the minister has presented very well, detailed, very organized. The minister has apologized. She said in her presentation she was managing a crisis. And in managing this crisis, she acknowledges some mistakes were made. And she apologizes for those mistakes. I don't know what else we are still looking from her, other than, in my view, and therefore my procedure matter, whether we should not now go to issues of Uganda securities, USPC, and other issues of a technical nature in UPPC. Because apart from what the minister has said in her presentation, I am wondering what else we are still looking from her. If there are mistakes, she has accepted and she has apologized. So what else do we want from the minister?
Okay, it is actually good that the minister acknowledged shortcomings and apologized. That doesn't, because ultimately we're going to write a report. So you don't mean for each issue we must get a good understanding, even for posterity. Because somebody can apologize today and then tomorrow they make similar mistakes. But also some are still ongoing. You know, we have an MD who was recruited outside the law. So she has apologized, then what? Because that is still ongoing. So that's why it's important that we pick these issues. Perhaps we just need to speed up this whole process. Honorable Sibambi.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. I just have two issues. One, arising out of the letter by the minister appointing the MD. And I wish to guide here, not as a lawyer the other side, but going forward, because they are leaving this place, and Haji Yunus, who is here, who is the PS, and the lawyer who is the advisor, and the human resource, and the corporation secretary. Kindly please go back and study public corporations. They are not government entities under the public service regulations or standing orders. So when you appoint an MD and you subject the MD to terms under the Public Service Act, that's irregular. Because the Public Service Act and the PS regulations and standing orders relate to public servants. Two, the office of the president is not actively involved even in supervision. Even the minister under the Act has no supervisory powers to do the day-to-day management. Day-to-day management is vested in the board and the officers employed by the corporation, because this is a person separate and distinct. Government only acquires interest in form of control and shares and public and policy. Lastly, the rest we shall put in the report, but I volunteer to come and give you talk, because I've taught you this for the last 20 years. And I can assure you I can really give some guidance. Now, lastly,
The chairperson approves of that.
One clarification from Honorable Spambi. Honorable Spambi, now that you have raised that issue, can you go down and look at the last paragraph of the letter, plus the copies? They have given a copy to Attorney General, they have given a copy to Permanent Secretary. Can you also comment on that? Then up there, the last paragraph, that the detailed terms of reference will be provided to you by the Secretary of the Office of the President to enable you whatever. So comment on the two.
The Act specifies the terms are set by the board. So even in the absence of the board, maybe the minister can give guidance, as I said, because of the crisis, but the office of the minister does not take over management. In fact, when you look at paragraph 2, I didn't want to prolong my discussion. Again, this is irregular. In other words, if this officer committed anything, would you proceed against him? Or when you actually was appointed under an invalid instrument?
Okay.
Now, lastly, I have something which I substantially want to talk about. The minister rightly said that she's not in position to give an account of the joint venture. But before she takes leave, we don't want you just to give us that document. We want you to state on record that there is no functioning board of that joint venture company. Because also we have no board functioning for that joint venture company, according to our information. Is it true?
Okay.
Then the other very least, the two companies, the consortium companies, want you also to state on record that apart from being registered as joint venture parties, they are not registered here as foreign companies operating business in Uganda. In other words, the agreement is null and void.
Honorable Chimosho.
Thank you, Honorable Chair and members. And I think Honorable Minister is a very lucky person that members have all kindly accepted her apology, and they are very sympathetic that she has apologized, and it's a very serious matter, according to them. But for me, I think, Honorable Chair, I would request and seek for indulgence that we need issues that we needed the minister to clarify on specific issues. And Honorable Simamba has been highlighting them, but in form of advice, not questions. What we ought to get from the minister, Honorable Simamba was providing us. And what is the issue I'm saying is that if we are saying that the minister had no powers to do A, B, C, D, what informed her? Which document? Or if there is no document, why do we take her apology seriously, but then we also take the breach seriously? And if we are saying that the appointment of the MD has gaps, then we seek from her what guided her. If there is nothing in document or in law, then we take her apology coupled with her faults. But for us to say what we want from the minister, we want everything from the minister, Honorable Chair.
Order,
So
Honorable Chair.
I would seek for
Order, Honorable Chair.
I would seek for your
Order.
indulgence.
Order.
What's the point of
much, Honorable Chair? Honorable Chair, you've been guiding us well. And we know we've not reached at the report writing process. Acknowledging that the minister has submitted her apology does not in any way exonerate her or us from going ahead and writing a report and putting in even our findings. So, Right Honorable Chair, the point of order I'm raising. after seeking clarification with all these questions, including myself, seeking clarification about how the recruitment plan, is it in order for a colleague to allege that we don't even want to pose any question? We are saying the minister is free. And when he has even asked more questions, more than even others, and nobody has denied him that chance, is he in order, right, Mr. Chair?
Honorable Chimosho is what I hear from him. You know, he's making the point that the apology is good, similar to what I said earlier on. It's actually a good thing, which is rare, for a minister to acknowledge there is a mistake, and I apologize. I want to applaud her for that. But after applauding her for that, without a doubt, we then get to hold her responsible where we must. Okay, where there are mistakes, how do they get rectified? Where we must hold her accountable, we hold her accountable. She has eased the work of the committee in that sense. You see, it's like going to court and then you plead guilty. You ease the work of court, but you see, court is not going to say, go back home. Because the minister is still in charge, there are issues we want to be fixed, so we get to deal with them. I think that's what he was raising. He, in my view, was not opposed to what you said, Honorable Mbwa.
Thank you,
Please
Honorable.
wrap
Thank
up,
you,
Honorable.
Honorable Chair. As I expected.
No, don't go back to it.
I expected
Let's
him
move
to
on.
come up with time-wasting issues, of course.
No, Honorable, now.
But finally, Honorable
Please wrap
Chair.
up with your issue. Honorable Chimosho, withdraw that statement and then proceed.
Honorable Chair, I would request, Honorable Chair, that you guide us into inquiring into other issues of the joint venture. The minister, in her statement, conceded that she has not read this contract, that it is big. She has presided over the institution for 2 years without reading this contract. The government has interest in it. So I would really want to hear the interest, where the government of Uganda stands with its interests and whether they are protected, and how the joint venture is proceeding in terms of what is expected in the agreement. Thank you very much, Honorable Chair.
Okay, two quick things, Honorable Minister, and then we move to the USPC issues. One, colleagues have been raising the issue of how you appointed the managing director, because the letter, which is attached herein, you said it is referenced shouldering duties of managing director, UPPC. And so you, at the end here, this assignment, you have said you are assigning him the duty of MD. My office, this assignment is effective the date you receive the letter. My office should therefore be informed of your willingness and acceptance to take up the assignment. This is in addition to your schedule of duties as editor, also holding the portfolio of printing and publishing manager. Your appointment was not substantive. You assigned him duties, caretaker, in the meantime. But now he's operating substantively. He's hiring staff members. He hired the corporation secretary. He is involved in the financials, as it were. He has become accounting officer, and yet that's not how he should be appointed. He's supposed to be appointed by a board, not by the minister. And so we want a comment on that, on how we rectify it immediately, because as far as we are concerned, that's illegal. Mr. Oluka is occupying that office illegally as far as the law is concerned. We want quick clarification on that. And then, still on UPPC, you have mentioned here issues to do with procurement. You say on page 14, therefore, considering the situation where UPPC lacked a board and a substantive MD, we need a senior procurement officer to support the current management to proceed well with the procurement issues in the corporation, because we badly need machines to keep in business. We could not be held back by the absence of a board or a substantive MD. So there is procurement that has been happening in UPPC, even before USPC. Yeah? And I have a letter here, Honorable Minister, which you can confirm or deny. You wrote to the board chairman, UPPC, the Managing Director, UPPC, the Chairperson, Finance, Investment and Marketing Committee. This was August 16th, 2021. Allegations of fraud in the purchase of a colored printer for the UPPC. This is to bring it to your notice that my office has received reliable information from a whistleblower that you are fraudulently purchasing a printer from Elite Company at an inflated cost of 1.9 billion. You have already made a down payment of 30% equivalent to 600 million. I'm therefore writing to hold any further payments on this procurement or any related purchases until a full audit is undertaken. Signed by you, Bariri Emili Babalanda, Minister for the Presidency. It appears now you seem to take over procurement as minister stroke board chairman, since you had now given yourself that role. Help us understand how this situation was dealt with, because ultimately we are querying the financials, but we must be sure the procedures were done right. So quickly on those two issues, MD, and then this procurement issue.
Mr. Chairman, I wanted to have an additional question, Mr. Chairman.
On this issue?
On your first question about the appointment letter. Chair had made this comment. Why the managing director now has become everything is because of the opening sentence of his appointment letter. And they are saying, this is to inform you that you have been assigned duties of managing director of UPPC until such a time when the substantive managing director will be back to the office or otherwise. Chair, this statement, it keeps him vague. He's not sure when the other party will come back to office. So can the minister help us and put a time frame when this gentleman should act? Because you cannot act until when Jesus comes back.
Okay, Madam Minister, respond quickly, please.
I will chair and honorable members for all the issues raised. The one which you've just asked me to respond to is about the acting managing director that is acting in the capacity of a substantive manager. Honorable Chair, that one is over now because we have a board in place as we talk now. We are waiting just for the consent. It is not going to happen. And
when does that new board take effect?
we are waiting for His Excellency the President to consent.
Chair, under which law? Because we have to guide the Honourable Minister. The powers are within your...
Because the Act says the minister appoints the board. I see the PS wants to say something on that.
Now that Cabinet yesterday, Chair, approved the board.
Just draw the microphone closer, Haji.
As yesterday this board was approved, what is awaiting is the minister now to inaugurate this, to write appointing letters of appointment and inaugurate the board. And I think this one can be done within 1 very week. So I want to assure you, Chair, that come April 2nd, 3rd, there will be the board will be functioning, and then the first assignment will be to advertise the job of Mr. Ruka.
But the minister who is meant to do that is saying she's awaiting for approval from the appointing authority. So the minister who is meant to do it is saying something different from what you, the permanent secretary, is saying. Do you notice?
I want to, Chair, to request you to take my words.
So I take your word and I leave the minister's word.
Chair. My words.
And yet the minister is the one supposed to appoint. Do you see the position you're putting me in, Haji?
He's going to appoint because as soon as...
Let her speak for herself then, because I cannot take your word when the minister who is meant to appoint is here.
Allow
Sure.
the Chairman to finalize my point.
And Chair.
Chairman, I want to finalize my...
You've now switched off the mic.
After the inauguration of the board, that is next week, she is going to do. She will appoint the board members in writing and give them terms.
Okay, Honorable Minister, you're here. You're the one meant to do that. When are you appointing this board?
As soon as possible.
Give us a time frame.
2 weeks from now.
2 weeks from now.
Chair, procedure. It is a matter of law. And what we are hearing from the minister and the PS is irregular. The law talks about, is very specific in very clear terms, that the minister appoints the board. We don't see anything to do with the cabinet, anything to do with all the agencies they are mentioning. Now, this is a matter of law. The minister has a statutory duty, not just administrative, but a statutory duty to appoint a board. And once the minister appoints, the minister, this business of saying I took this list for approval is not envisaged anywhere within our laws.
Okay,
The
we
act
have
is very
guided
clear.
the minister.
You appoint.
Let's not delay on this issue.
Just after here, go write letters, appoint a board, but
Procedure.
Colleagues, let's not, no, because we have wasted a lot of time. We have guided the minister. Honorable Minister, please respond on the microphone.
Yes.
Okay, so talk to us under the what circumstances were prevailing for this to happen, because for me it appears you took over the procurement, but how was this done to its conclusion? Yes, Honorable Minister.
Honorable Chair and honorable members, I cannot reveal that person who gave me that information, but it was that what caused the interdiction was the misappropriation of funds. That is the letter he's talking about. Thank you. It is on which page?
Yes, sir, Honorable Minister.
Give me some time so that I look for that later.
No, what I want to understand is how you handled this procurement, because you came in, you stopped the procurement that was ongoing, money had been deposited, and then you came in and you rechanneled it, because eventually a new colored printer was bought and all of that at your orders. So I want to understand how that procurement got to be purchased. I see Mr. Lucas' hand up.
Chair, let me clarify. This was one of the subjects of investigation. And so the minister wrote that letter to stop the procurement from going on as the investigations were being done. After some time, we got clearance from the minister that we could proceed, because the investigation had not found anything that would stop us from proceeding with that procurement. It was a procurement that was initiated by the former management, and to date we have that machine in the corporation. It is an indigo press, a digital color press. So we paid the money that had been decided earlier, the amount. At the time that of the interdiction, about 600 million had been paid, and there was a balance of 1.4 billion, which was cleared. That is how that procurement...
Was there a change in specification of the machine?
No, not in that one.
Which one had a change in specification?
Not that one.
Which one then?
I think the members asked about the 5-color machine and a 4-color machine.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we've provided the documents.
What happened with that color machine? How was it procured?
We haven't bought it, by the way, because also lack of the board, we cannot take such huge procurement. But this one here, we managed to clear because it was handled by the old board and everything had been cleared. So all the other procurements to do with machines, we could not proceed because we needed board resolutions to proceed because they are huge amounts. We could only do smaller procurements. But the specifications had been discussed earlier, And so we just proceeded on what we found on table, especially when I took over. I just found it in the process, and we completed the process.
And how much was it in total?
This new one is about, I don't have the procurement officer. It's about 5.6 billion.
5.6 billion.
Yeah.
And when was it purchased?
No, the other one, it's not yet purchased. It is not purchased.
The 5.6 billion is which one?
That is for the machine which is not purchased.
The colored one?
Yeah.
But did
All of
you
them are
start the
colored.
process?
Yeah, we started the process.
Okay, how was that process conducted? Because it must follow procurement.
We followed the PPDA rules. It
Who
was
is- who is-
advertised. Yeah.
Who is meant to
In
give
the-
approval for
Pardon?
purchase of that, the 5.6 billion
Pardon?
machine? Who is meant to give approval for
On
the
the board.
5.6
The
billion?
board.
That was the previous one.
Yes.
The 5.6 is for the new machine,
Yeah.
which you are in the process
Yes.
of buying.
Yes.
Who gave approval for that?
We found the process ongoing, and we just completed. Because by the time I took over, it was already advertised.
Mr. Oluka, there are two machines. There are two machines, yeah? There was a first machine for which you found the process ongoing, yeah? And then
For
there's
both
meant
ma-
to be,
for
just
both-
hold on,
yes, sir.
because you're confusing us and yourself. There are two machines. There's one for which you found the process ongoing, you completed. There's a new machine which you are meant to purchase. So I want to know how much was the other machine that you bought already? How much is this new one that you're in the process of purchasing, and at what stage are we with that process?
Thank you, Chair. The first machine which we cleared was 2 billion, about 2 billion shillings. Yeah, about 2 billion. I can't remember the smaller digits, but 2 billion. We can get
Okay,
the
it's
exact
okay.
figure. And then this one is about 5.6 billion.
At what stage are we in purchasing this new one of 5.6 billion?
It is awarded. Yeah. We have prepared or procured a board paper, and we are waiting for the new board.
You have procured the board paper?
Yes.
What does
but
that
also,
mean?
Chair, I also wanted. Yes, prepared.
You've prepared the board paper?
Yes.
What is therein in that paper?
Do you want to help me? Do you want to help me? It is really about the details of the machine, and also to seek their approval. But Chair, just allow me clarify that it was not that I was confusing, because I also found that one in the process. So we just moved it to the next level. Yeah. The former management.
The new one?
Both, yeah.
Both?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
By former management, yeah.
By former management?
Yeah.
Now you're saying former board, former management. Let me first just hold on, Mr. PS. That gentleman is the accounting officer of UPPC. So he must be, because you see, the PS, you sit in the ministry, you know, he's the one running the show as accounting officer. So he must give us answers, yeah? So what processes were gone through to get to the point of saying we need a board approval for buying this 5.6 billion machine?
We advertised locally and internationally, and then we received bids through the PPDA rules and regulations. Yeah, that is the process we went through. And we have documents to that effect of the whole process.
Yes, clarification?
You already advertised for the second machine.
Yes.
So what is the board going to do if you have already advertised it, for example? Because the procedure is the board approves the procurement, the whole procurement plan actually, for the institution. Then you go down to start procurement. Now, you're telling us you have already advertised it, meaning you have specifications you want, and in the advert you tell when you're going to close the bid, and you have the timelines for acquisition of the machine, meaning you have done it without board approval. And now you're saying you are waiting for board to present a board paper to do what? Retrospective approval?
So as I said, I found this in the process, it had been approved earlier
By the area board.
by the earlier board. And I just picked it up, sir, when I took over. I found it had already been advertised even by the time I became MD, because we have the documents to that effect. Yeah.
Are you talking
But
about
also-
the 5.6 billion machine? You're saying you found it had already been approved. Is that what you're saying, Mr. Luka?
Yes. Yes.
But you see, my challenge is that Mr. Oluka is the accounting officer. It is his signature that is meant to purchase, although illegally, because he's in that office illegally. But you see, he is the accounting officer. He is the one who signs, he is the one purchasing on behalf of UPPC. Yes. So I find it strange that he does not know.
So I know, and that's why I've stated.
Are you confirming to me
Yes.
that the approval for this 5.6 billion machine was made by the previous board? Are you confirming that?
I will. Yes.
You're sure you're confirming that?
I can confirm that the discussion on the 5-color machine was started before
I'm talking
I
about
took over.
approval. Who approved the purchasing of the color machine worth 5.6 billion? Who approved?
After it was advertised, and then we, of course, we chose it went through the procurement process during the time I was MD. And but of course, much as we concluded the processes of awarding, it still needed the board. Yeah.
So you see now why I was insisting on this, because Mr. Oluka is saying, no, it is the previous board that approved. Yes. And then he is saying, no, they went through the processes and awarded the contract. Now you're waiting for approval of the new board that is coming. So you have prepared a board paper. How does that work? Because you see, the board is meant to first of all give an approval before you award as management. So there was no approval by the previous board, as you're saying.
It was there.
It was there?
Yes, sir.
Do you have a copy of that approval?
It must be there.
Because if it was there, why do you need approval of the coming board? Because the first machine, you said, you went ahead because the previous board had approved, you just went ahead to actualize. For this one, you're saying, you got approval, but then you have procured, you have awarded, you're waiting for approval of the new board.
The challenge now is the availability of funds.
Yeah. How? Because you see,
then we would proceed.
the funds, Mr. Oluka.
Chair.
Hold on, Madam Minister. We are dealing with the accounting officer. So you're saying you awarded the contract. But because there is no money, you're waiting for the board's approval. Does that make sense? Because by the time you award, you're the ones in charge of the finances. That's why you are accounting officer. So how do you say, because the finances are limited, I'm waiting for the board approval? Are you waiting for the board to give you money or what? Yes, sir? Mr. Accounting Officer.
Thank you, Chair. The procurement plan, this procurement plan of the machines was initiated by former board. They left those figures there. That's why we had put money, fixed money for purpose of buying those machines. But the money later was taken by URA. So before the board left, they had approved the plan for machines, the 2 machines, the Indigo machine which we finished this last financial year, and this new machine. They left the plan there, and the figures were just approved, yes.
So why do you need approval of the new board? I want to understand why.
That was just misunderstanding.
Honorable Chair.
Maybe still sticking with IMBC. I'm going to come. Mr. IMBC.
Yes, sir.
So the other board had come up with a procurement plan and approved.
Yes.
Now, ultimately, what that means is that you as management, you're meant to pick this up, follow procurement regulations, up to award of the contract. Because the board does not award the contract. Were those regulations, procurement regulations, followed to the letter by management of which you're part?
By the time the board left the function of the board, a procurement plan and the budget had been approved. And we had fixed money for purpose of procuring those machines. But later the money which after went for other purposes.
Clarification, Chair.
Among those machines, the indigo machine was already there. By that time, the machine had been procured. By the time the body left.
That's the first machine?
Yeah, the first machine. We came and complete the payment. The second machine is what we had not got a supplier, but it was already, the program was already approved. By that time, we have not got a supplier.
But you had awarded a contract because you advertised, people bidded, and then you got a suitable supplier. True or false?
The supplier was got after the board had left.
After the board had left.
Yes,
the supplier was gotten by who?
We were implementing what was approved by
So who got the supplier? It is you as
our
management?
procurement.
Your procurement?
Yes.
Through what process?
The usual process of bidding, advertising, all those clearance, whatever, everything was done by the in the recent period when we have already taken off by the procurement.
Follow-up clarification, Honorable Chair.
Yes, Honorable
Chair,
Chair.
it is the reason
Thank
why
you,
I
Honorable
wrote
Chair.
that letter which you are asking me. That is the reason why I wrote that letter, after citing corruption in the entire process of procurement. And I even asked police to investigate.
That's in the purchase of which
Those
machine?
two machines,
The first one.
even the
But the first one had already been bought.
I queried it also.
Honorable
After
Chair.
it was bought by these people.
Honorable Chair.
Thank you.
Honorable Chair.
Thank
Would
you.
any, Chair.
I had
Honorable
Honorable
Chair.
Chimoisho,
Please,
then I'm going to come.
Just a
Thank you,
procedural
Honorable
matter.
Chair. Thank you, Honorable Chair. Kindly, a minute. I request that this gentleman takes us through the procurement process. Does the approval of the procurement plan happen annually, or it is a 5-year procurement plan?
Every year, we approve a procurement plan. We always have a procurement plan prepared by a procurement officer every year.
Approved by?
A procurement, approved by the board during the budget.
When did the old board approve the procurement plan of the two machines?
It was one procurement plan having those machines in it.
When did they approve?
By the time we made the budget, we passed the budget.
When? Which year?
That is around 2021.
When did you procure the machine?
That the one of Indigo came.
The second machine?
That's the first. The second, we haven't procured anything. Nothing has come. But the first.
You have awarded? You have awarded?
I don't know the process where it has
Have
reached.
you awarded the second one?
I need to get it from procurement. I'm not sure whether we have already awarded. I don't know the supplier, but the first one was awarded. At
what stage is the second machine? The three of you don't know. The three of you don't know.
That one I don't know the stage where it has
Each
reached.
accounting officer, at what stage is the second machine?
Honorable, as I said earlier, we awarded. And
When did you award?
I don't remember the month.
But it is in this year?
It was
2022.
Yeah.
Chair, can I have a procedural matter, Chair?
Information. Yes, Honorable Cooper.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I think facts speak to themselves. Can we ask for a documentation? That will help us too, because now we are getting contradictions. I think the best now procedurally is to ask for the documentation, so we study them. Otherwise, we risk giving false things. Let us have the documentations. We have picked the picture, but let us ask for the documentation for these documents, and we move forward, Chairperson.
Chairman,
Uganda security
we have
things.
them.
Who is your current procurement officer? Or maybe the one that was recruited. Earlier on, I was talking about that. Which person is that was recruited? What's the name?
Chair, we recruited a senior procurement officer who has since left. He left in December. He worked with us for a short time. So we are yet to...
Who was that?
Alex Odongo.
Who is Sheila Nabafu?
Sheila is a procurement officer. The other one was senior, was her boss. Sheila is still with us.
Sheila is still with you?
Yes. And before Dongo, we had a senior procurement officer who died, and that's why we had a gap, as the minister read earlier. That's why we had to recruit Alex.
I just want to read an email written by Sheila as the procurement assistant. She wrote to Archelis Group. Is that the group you are procuring from? There's Archelis Group, then Spice Eastern Africa, something? Those are the people you are procuring from. Yes. The first or second machine? These ones here.
The second one.
The second one. So she writes here to different bidders and says, "Dear bidders, hope this email finds you well. This is to inform you that the procurement of the 4-color machine has been halted by management due to change in specifications. A 5-color machine is being opted to replace the former, and the procurement process will be commencing soon. Apologies for the inconvenience caused." This was in October 2021, October 13th, 2021. Do you know about this?
Yes, sir.
What is this?
And that is why I said earlier that I found it in the process, because I took over in December of that year.
Mr. Imbisiwe, help us understand this situation.
That is what happened.
You as the person in charge of finances, what was this? Because you reached out to bidders for a 4-color machine. Who changed the decision to now say, let's get 5-color machine? And so you're telling the bidders, we apologize for the confusion and so on.
Thank you, Chair. I'm not aware of. No, I don't have enough knowledge about that procurement at that time, because by that time I was not in the full.
You were what?
I was just an accountant.
You were an accountant. Okay, talk to us in that capacity.
I don't want to get information after they have awarded, so I didn't have information prior to that. The details of procurement and what they stopped it, I didn't have.
Who has information to this effect? I see the hand of the accounting officer. Yes, Mr. Accounting Officer.
So the explanation that I got, that I know, is that, you know, the 5-color is like a higher version of, the 5-color is a higher version of the 4-color. And the nature of business that we do, especially in security printing, needed an extra component of a machine. So a decision was taken that if we bought a 4-color machine, we are likely to require a 5-color even within a short time. And some benchmarking was done with the new vision at that time. And then a decision was taken to go for a 5-color machine.
Who took the decision?
Management at that time. And yeah.
Maybe let me just establish, and I come to you. Honorable Minister, were you aware of this change in specifications? Because this is the 5.6 billion machine. So there was initial purchase and so on. Because you were the acting board chairman. So were you aware of this?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I wasn't aware.
You were not aware? Did you eventually discover about this? Because the process is ongoing. Mr. Luka is saying this process is ongoing. Now it's awaiting the board approval. You have been acting as the board. But now he's saying this new board that you're going to appoint, they have prepared the board paper for them to approve. But you're saying you're not aware of this 5.6 billion shilling purchase. How come?
Maybe they will update me.
Wow.
But I am not aware.
Chair, proceed.
Okay, yes, a point of procedure.
Honorable Kimosho asked very specific questions about the procurement plan and the financial year within which it was approved. Honorable Okupa raised the issue of the documentation, facts. From the responses we are getting from the accounting officer, the accountant, the minister, none of them is telling us the real facts. Wouldn't it be procedurally right, Mr. Chairman, that we shelve this matter? They said they have the documentation in all this procurement process. We shelve this matter for now, and we get the documentation in regard to this procurement, and then we can be able to engage with them with the facts, not hearsay. I beg.
Yeah. Chair.
You see, my challenge is twofold, maybe threefold. Of course, for all the issues we ask these people, they must produce documents, yeah? But here is a procurement that is at the tail end of it, the entire process, because they have awarded, they are now waiting approval of the new board. That means the process has been worked out by who? A supposed management. Procurement officers have been in and out. The minister, who is a supervising political person, but also who has been acting as the board chairman, because the minister has been signing documents as board chairman, says she is not aware. And we are talking about 5.6 billion shillings. So at what point was the minister going to be made aware? We are going to get the documents to see how procurement was done. But at what point was the minister, who you have been signing documents with, Mr. Oluka, because you were signing as managing director, the minister was signing those documents as board chairman, including the audited financial statements. You signed together. You as board chairman, you as managing director, the minister as board chairman. But for some reason, the minister doesn't know, and I'm hoping she's telling us the truth. At what point was she meant to be aware of this purchase, which is at the tail end, awaiting approval by the board which is going to appoint?
Honorable Chair, it is the reason why I queried the entire process, because I cited corruption in that process of the procurement of those machines.
Clarification.
What corruption did you see? Maybe help us understand.
The inflation price.
The inflation?
Yes.
Okay, how much was it meant to be? How much was it inflated by? She's talking about both machines. We have heard her correct. Yes, Madam Minister.
You too.
No, Madam Minister, it's you that has said you cited corruption, inflation, and so on. Help us understand as a committee also.
Actually, I asked police to investigate on that so that we come up with the appropriate figures.
For both machines?
Yes.
Do you think procurement regulations were followed in the entire award of these procurements? You as minister?
But after the investigations, Honorable Chair,
Okay, when does that report come?
we are waiting for it.
So as we wait for that report, because you see, the contract was awarded, according to Mr. Oluka, we are only waiting for the new board to approve. So what if police investigates and finds out there were so many issues and all of that? Because as far as management is concerned, the contract was awarded. We are only waiting. Actually, he's only saying there is no money. Maybe if there was money, they would have already paid. That's my thinking. Because he says the reason is there is no money currently. So if there was money, we would have already bought this machine at 5.6 billion, whether it is in good condition or not, whether procurement was followed or not, whether it is inflated or not. And my concern is you have not taken action. Apart from asking police to investigate, I would have thought maybe some action. You as minister and acting body chair.
But I think after the investigations, police will guide accordingly on the way forward.
When they have already awarded, because you see, the contract has been awarded. Maybe to bring you up to speed, Madam Minister, your accounting officer says the contract was awarded. Two issues are standing in the way. There is no money, the 5.6 billion, they are waiting for it. Two, he says he's waiting for the board to approve. So that means if UPPC gets a windfall tomorrow, the machine is going to be bought. So what are you, why do you want to do post-mortem investigation yet there is an issue at hand now? Yes, Mr. P.S., I see your hand
I
up.
think to halt the entire process.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, it's good that this process now is being caught up by the new board which is coming. The new board will study these documents and then advise accordingly. But as of now, to me, I say that's fortunate that, one, they didn't have the money to purchase. Secondly, they didn't have even the board which would have given them a go-ahead to go and purchase. Therefore, Chair, I would say that it's good really that now They don't have the money. The new board is going to take a place. Then they will investigate all these things and see whether the procurement is worth making.
Procedure,
They
Chair.
can even hold to the process.
Yes, clarification, Honorable Ndiomje.
Clarification from the PS. Because you see, when you award a contract, you cannot just simply terminate it. I'm sure there are terms and conditions of termination. That's number one. Number two, wouldn't it mean that if the minister is still investigating and the accounting officer is awarding, that means insubordination, or there is something that maybe they need to tell us that made them rush to award a contract, and yet there are investigations at police. Police is doing investigations. Three, how can you award a contract when you don't have money? Where has it ever happened? When you don't have money, you award a contract, and you are committing the institution. What if money doesn't come? What happens? So those are the issues that we need to look at, Chair, and understand. And maybe since the PS is volunteering, why a contract would be awarded when there are investigations? That's number one. Number two, why you would award a contract when there is no money, hence committing a corporation, and with the consequences, of course, because now, if the police, for example, Madam Minister, if the police report came and said this process is null and void, how would you ensure that? Where would you get money to pay the contractor, the supplier? Because the supplier, for him, you gave him a contract, and whatever you are going through, he doesn't know.
Procedure, Chair.
Chair, I would say that let the chair tell us, I mean the accounting officer tell us whether he has already issued the award contract. If he has not issued the award contract, there is no contract. There is no contract. But
Chair,
if he has issued it,
Chair, on the procedure,
he told us he awarded
he hasn't issued
the contract.
Chair, on the procedure.
Just a second, Mr. Oluka, accounting officer. You told us that this contract has been awarded. Do you want to confirm or deny that statement, which you made a short while ago? Mr. Oluka. Mr. Well, you earlier on said this contract was awarded. Do you want to confirm or deny that statement?
Chair, I have a technical input.
Just hold on a second. Mr. Oluka is actually still on oath.
As he looks
what is, because you see, it's you who has told us the contract was awarded. Now you say, you know,
procedure,
you're looking
Chair.
for the?
Chair, as he looks for.
Procedure, Chair.
Point of procedure?
Yes, Chair. Thank you, Chair. Now, in an instance where we have mix-up of words, and Mr. Lucas is still consulting, not sure he said it, and we're having a mix. Are we not wasting so much of our time trying to dig when we're not very sure? Couldn't we do it procedure right by waiting for the documents or getting them to get this fact about the awards, that we do a better job?
Of corporate governance is this that we are dealing with. Because if an accounting officer is not sure of certain things, not sure of a contract worth 5, yes, we shall look at those documents, wherever they will get them from, if they do exist. But that's why we have these meetings. Otherwise, we would just write to them, send all the documents, then we sit and study the documents ourselves. But this interaction is important because it also gets to help us understand whether these people are in charge of the entity.
And actually, Chair, I wanted to support you on that prior, arising from the appointment of Ewan Oluka. Chair, and I beg that you put it as part of the documents we need. The letter appointing him says that he will get a detailed terms of reference. We need to look at those terms of reference so that we can know how he has been transacting as the managing director. But needless to say, Chair, I'm also perturbed by to understand which person did the minister appoint as the managing director. When I look at the appointment letter, the minister's letter talks about Kenneth Oluka. No, Chair, I'm being specific. These are matters of law. The minister's letter is talking about a one Kenneth Oluka. The acceptance letter is from one Kenneth Geoffrey Oluka. The oath was taken by one Kenneth Geoffrey Oluka. Chair, the laws are very clear in terms of names. an individual. We might be dealing with an imposter. Now, because the laws are very clear. When I look, I'm here with a file of one Kenneth Geoffrey Oluka. The appointment letter of the minister is to Kenneth Oluka, of two names. The one who accepted is Kenneth Geoffrey Oluka, of three names. The one who took the oath is Kenneth Geoffrey Oluka. Chair, there is no way under our law that someone can call himself 2 or 3 names in interchange in such a sensitive office. We want to appreciate who was appointed by the minister as acting MD of whatsoever, and 2, what are those terms of reference mentioned in this? Chair, this is a procedural issue touching the law.
Okay, we'll get a response to.
Consulting with my colleague, Corporation Secretary, and we awarded, but we didn't append the signature to a contract.
You awarded, but you didn't append the signature to the contract.
There's no contract.
Eh? So who awarded? Maybe give us that document. That.
Chair, we shall give you the documents.
No, you have looked at the document there. Can we see it now?
I think we have the other.
Madam Corporation Secretary.
Yeah.
Please hand over that document. Yes, please.
Because we talked about 2 things, and the documents are incomplete, so we want to ask that you give us. We can.
No.
Documents. We can go.
You are referring. You have quoted that document in your response to the committee. So we want that document now.
Okay.
Please bring it, Madam Corporation Secretary. Yes, point of procedure.
I see the Corporation Secretary handing over documents to you, but we don't know what documents. Can she, on record, tell the committee what she has handed over to you?
Go ahead, Madam Corporation Secretary. I insisted on getting them quickly because she looked like she was beginning to hide them. Yes, Madam, tell us what you have given us. Yes, please.
Honorable Chairperson, we have handed over the record of solicitation, the record of receipt of bids, record of bid opening, evaluation report, due diligence letter, and the financial bid, and approval by the Contracts Committee.
Is that the last stage at which you are, or you have moved ahead of that? The best evaluated bidder. Is the notes out on the notes board? The best evaluated bidder notice?
Not to my knowledge.
So you're saying there is a notice?
Honorable Chairperson, I said not to my knowledge.
No, wait, whether or not it's been put out is a different thing. The notice, does it exist? That's part of the documents you've given to us, right?
No, Chairperson.
Just repeat the documents you have shared.
The record of issue of solicitation, record of receipt of bids, record of bid opening, the evaluation report, the due diligence letter, the financial bid, and the Contracts Committee approval.
Okay, the documents you've given me here, there's a table. Just a second, Honorable Sewamala. Hey, you don't say no.
Chair, this is very
let me come. Don't worry, let me come. Madam Corporation Secretary, the document you've given me here, this is supply, delivery, installation, training, and commissioning of 5-color offset press with perfect conversion, etc., compiled by Connie Ariada, yourself, presented by Mr. Kenneth Oluka, the Managing Director. There's a funding table here, proposed funding. Budget line item, production machine, amount approved, 6 billion shillings. Amount utilized as at September 8th, 2022, 5.6 billion.
Yes.
Balance, 60 million. What does this mean? Because you are saying you approved the contract, you're waiting for the new board to come and approve, and then you spend money. Help us understand this.
Chairperson, if you read that table, it's headed proposed funding from UPPC budget for financial year 2021-22. Just like the finance manager has told you, has informed the committee, this budget had been approved in the financial year 2021-2022. So what this table shows is that, yes, while the budget approved was 6 billion, 5.6 had been utilized, and now the corporation only had 60 million.
And how much were you meant to spend on this? Because there's a bidder here, Spicers, Eastern Africa Limited. That one was supplying, was it the first machine or the second machine? Hmm?
Both machines.
Both machines?
Yes.
And you paid how much for the first machine?
It wasn't paid.
Huh? The first machine?
No, the Indigo.
The Indigo.
Yeah.
Are you asking about the cancelled one, sir? Just clarification.
The first machine
the
you
Indigo.
paid money. Yes.
The Indigo was supplied by Elite Computers. It was different.
Chair, procedure matter.
Let's just try and get this out of the way.
Procedure, Chair. Thank you so much, Chair. Chair, the Honorable Council posed a